everybody, welcome back to my modern homestead. If you don't already know, my name is Janet and I'm so happy you're here. And y'all, this is strawberry season where we are. And if it's strawberry season around here, it means it's time for strawberry pepper jelly. Oh my goodness. If y'all have never had it, you don't know what you're missing. It is amazing. Now, pepper jelly is not hard, but it does take a lot to get ready. You've seen me getting my jars ready. They're heating on the stove. I've already washed the vegetables. I've washed lids. So let's get down to business and I'll show you what we're doing. I've also created a little recipe card and I will put this in my coffee shop. The link will be below the video. If you would like a recipe card, you can print it out on cardstock. And that way you'll have it next time you need it. So let's look at what we've got. First things first, I'm going to put on an apron because pepper jelly can get messy and you don't want red stains all over your clothes. And I've laid out everything I think I need for the jelly. We've got 2 bell peppers, and these, y'all, are super large bell peppers. Oh my goodness. So what I'm going to do is just use 1.5 of those bell peppers, and we're going to finely dice those. And you need about 5 to 6 small to medium jalapenos. What are they feeding jalapenos these days? You want them about this size. Most of mine were really large. So we're just going to use 3 of these because they're double the size of a small jalapeno. And then you're going to need a cup of finely diced strawberries, 1 tablespoon of red pepper flakes. These are my Korean red pepper flakes. I love them. You're going to need a 1.5 cups of apple cider vinegar. Do not use white vinegar. You want the apple cider. And then 6.5 cups of the sugar. You're also going to need 6 ounces of pectin. I use this. It's in the blue box. And there are 2 packs in here. You're going to want both packs. And what I like to do is cut them open when I'm ready and stick them in a glass just like this so they don't tip over. But I can quickly get them out and pour them in because this is quick, y'all. You also want to use gloves for this when you're cutting up the jalapeno peppers. Just do it, y'all. I know it's not fun having to cut with gloves, especially if you got small hands and the gloves stick out, but just do it, trust me. Okay, so let's get everything cut up. Now, if you see my measuring cup, it's dusty. That's because I used this one to measure out the sugar. And I don't know if I told you, I actually have already put the sugar here in the pan, so it's ready to go. Okay, let's cut up the peppers. What I like to do is just cut here where one of the knobs sticks out. That way it leaves the rib inside. And I just cut around, leaving as much of the rib as I can because you don't want that part. That part is bitter. So leave as much as possible. And when you cut it like this, all the seeds stay in the middle, and that's one less step you have to deal with. Now, all we have to do is finely dice it. I'm just going to get rid of this little bit of that one rib. There we go. At this point, I just make very thin strips. The sharper your knife, the easier this is. I should have sharpened mine before I got started, but I didn't. Just cut it into very thin strips. Then turn them. And just make fine dices. And keep going till you have your peppers done. You will do the jalapenos the same way. You really do want these small because these are going to make the specks in your pepper jelly. You don't want big chunks, just pretty little specks. The color of the bell peppers technically does not matter, but I like the green with the red strawberries. It's just prettier to me. Here we go, just like that. Okay, before we go any further, I need to make my disclaimer. Canning is something you want to do safely. You want to always follow the guidelines for safe canning practices in food handling, food safety, food preservation, all supplied by the USDA. I cannot promise you my recipe is safe, but I can promise you it's one I've used forever. It's the only one I've used for my strawberry pepper jelly. So when you can at your own risk. Always do your research. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone else's word for it. Do your own research and make sure it's safe for you and your family. Now, I've got everything cut up. So what we need to do is add all of our ingredients except for the strawberries and the pectin into our pot. I'm going to go ahead and do that here before I move it to the stove. Okay, so in go our peppers. And again, that's 6.5 cups of sugar in the pan already. And make sure you measure that evenly. Don't eyeball it. Don't use mounded scoops. Do even measures. Okay, come on off of there. Now, let's do that's the peppers, bell peppers, strawberries. We're not adding those. Let's do the pepper flakes. And 1 tablespoon. And our apple cider vinegar. 1.5 cups. There we go. Let's move it to the stove. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and cut open my packs of Sure-Gel so that they're ready to go. All right. See, when you put them like that, they won't spill and tip over. So let's go to the stove. There we go. I'm doing everything on an opposite eye that I'm used to. I'm tempted to move it back over to here because that's not a big eye. I think I will. Give me just a second. Okay. Now, I've got the eye turned up. We're going to stir this, and we want to bring it to a rolling boil. Keep stirring, keep mixing. You do not want this to sit on the bottom because it will scorch and ruin all your hard work. While I'm stirring, take a look there behind me. You see I have out something to put a hot pan on, and then I have a spoon in a glass bowl, and that is to skim off any foam that may form on this jelly. And then beside that, I have my ladle and my jar lifter, and I have a towel already out. I know that looks like a mess there, all that stuff laying down, but that's how I record when you're facing me and I'm over there working. So that's all we need. I think that's all. Oh no, I have my lids and my rings ready to go. And there's also a wet paper towel so that I can wipe the rims of the jars. And then that white colander there is just where I had all the extra strawberries and peppers. We're almost at a rolling boil. When you have a rolling boil, when you stir, the boil does not go away. We are right there at it, but not quite. See, the bubbles disappear if I go through them. There we go. That's a rolling boil. So let it go for 5 minutes. Now, think of this like a hurricane when you're talking about the boil. See how it's still boiling even though I'm stirring? So we don't want a raging Category 7 hurricane out in the middle of a steaming hot ocean. We want around a category, low category 5, upper category 4, just a nice boiling, rolling boil. You don't want it to boil over your pot. And as your eye cuts on and off, it's going to bubble up more and go down a little bit, but it should not stop boiling no matter what. While we're talking about pots, make sure you use a big enough pot that when this does start boiling with the pectin in it, that it doesn't boil over. It's very, very important to have a big enough pot. Use a pot that you think is too big if you've got it. Unfortunately, this is the biggest I've got. So this is what we're working with. All right, let's add in the strawberries very carefully. And then we're going to add in the pectin very quickly, all at once, as quickly as you can. And when you do, you're going to bring it back up to another rolling boil. Keep stirring. You're almost there. Once this comes back up to a rolling boil, all you got is 3 minutes left. And see, there's a lot of steps, but it's not hard. Okay, we've got bubbles that are not stirring down, so we're going to boil it for 3 minutes. Keep stirring. Heat off. And let's take it off the stove. Okay, we're going to let it sit here for just a minute while I take the jars out. Okay, there is just a little foam down in here. You see it? I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm going to move this bowl out of the way along with the spoon. And let's dip this up. Okay, when you fill the jars, I like to stir around the jelly. And we want to fill to 1/4 inch headspace. Okay, now want to wipe the rims of the jars. And into the canner we go. You do want to make sure these are covered with 1 inch, at least 1 inch of headspace. Not 1 inch of headspace, covered with 1 inch of water. Okay. Put on the lid and let it come up to a rolling boil. Okay, these have come to a boil, so we're going to let them process for 10 minutes. Remember what I always say, don't waste your waiting. If you haven't already, go ahead and get everything cleaned up. In the time it took me to bring this water up to a boil, I got everything clean. So now all I have to do is enjoy the fruits of my labor when it's done. Okay, we're going to turn the heat off and open the pan, but do it very carefully. Make sure you lift the lid away from you and let that steam escape. Now, this is very important. When I do jelly, I do not, sorry I'm fogging y'all up, I do not move the jars out of this water until this water is completely still. That way you don't have siphoning up out of your jars, or at least you minimize it. That's very, very important. So we're going to give this just a minute and then we'll move these to the cooling table. Okay, let's move them. Thank you so much for joining me today, friends. I hope you enjoyed today's video and perhaps even picked up a little tidbit or two. Let me know if you try the recipe. Until we meet again, may you be blessed. Love you guys. Mwah.